Welcome back to the second part of failover clustering. So far, we've configured server 1 as the iSCSI target server. We've designated 2 nodes to be part of our cluster and ensured that they can connect to the iSCSI share. Both nodes have the file server role so they can present data to the client, and they have the failover clustering role so they can participate in the failover process. We've also used the Failover Cluster Manager to validate and view a validation report and make sure everything was configured correctly. We've created a cluster which has 2 nodes, Server 2 and Server 3, both are online. And there are 3 disks as part of iSCSI, and all of those disks are online. With everything in place, we're ready to configure a failover role. So we'll just right-click Roles and select Configure Role. Now this wizard configures a high availability role. If a clustered server fails while running the role, then another clustered server will automatically begin running that role. This is referred to as failover. So on the second page of the wizard, you see the different roles that you can configure for high availability. They include DFS namespace server, DHCP server, we're going to use file server. There's also Hyper-V replica broker, iSCSI target server, and virtual machine. Quite a few choices. On the next page of the wizard, there are 2 choices for file servers in a clustered environment. Scale out file server for application data provides storage for server applications or virtual machines that leave files open for extended periods of time. File server for general use provides a central location on your network for users to share files or for server applications that open and close files frequently, such as SMB, so that will be our choice. On the next page, we need to give our clustered role a name so we can manage it. We'll use a datum FS and a network IP address 172.16.0.130. We also need to select the storage volume that we will assign to this file server clustered role, and that will be cluster disk 2. After confirming our choices, it'll take just a minute to configure the role, and there is a report that you might want to view and take a look at in the lab. Okay, with everything in place, let's go ahead and take a look at some management and testing tasks. And I'm going to switch to Server 3 just to show that you can administer the cluster from any node in the cluster. And I'll right-click on the ADFS role and select Properties. This is where you designate your preferred owner for the role, and you list them in order from most preferred at the top to least preferred at the bottom. Now, when selecting your preferred owners, ensure your nodes have capacity to host the role in the event of a failover. And if you're interested in the specifics of how and when things occur, be sure to take a look at the Failover tab. Another thing you can do if you right-click the ADatum FS role is to add a file share. And I'll add an SMB quick file share, which is suitable for general file sharing. I'll take the defaults for server and path and give my share a name, DOCS or docs. You've probably seen the new share wizard, so I'm going through this pretty quickly. I'll take the defaults for share settings and permissions, confirm my choices, and create the share. So this is very cool that you can create the SMB share right from within the Failover Cluster Manager. Lastly, let's say that we would need for some reason to take server 2 offline, and it currently hosts this role. We could manually move the role to another node, let's say server 3. The owner would change to server 3, and if we were to take a look at the client, which is DC1, and view the properties on a file that's on that share, we would see under the Security tab it is owned by server 3, and there was no disruption from the client's point of view. So in summary, we created a failover cluster for the file server role. We configured the shared storage, the nodes, and performed some management and testing tasks. There's a lot of other fun things to do, and your course does have a lab on this. So I hope you'll take a few minutes and give it a try.